In today's ASMR ramble video, this is going to be a haul video. I was very fortunate and lucky that I got a lot of decks for Christmas, 9 to be precise, so I want to do a haul of those. And if there's any deck that you see in particular that you want to see more of, just let me know in the comments and I can do a longer video on that deck in particular. But I wanted to go ahead and share all of these because at least with some of them I had a lot of trouble finding videos about them when I was looking into them and before I asked for them, and so and I haven't had a chance to work with any of these yet, but I have flipped through them all, and they're all have exceeded my expectations, visually at least. So anyway, just like the other haul videos, I'll show you the box as well as I can on the small screen, and then pull a few cards out to show you, read an entry if there is a guidebook entry, and then that's about it. Since there's 9 decks, I'll probably only pull 5 cards for each. Normally I try to do 10. But so the first one is this one called Wisdom of Place, and I also received, there's a book that goes along with it too. So there's a guidebook for the tarot deck, but there's also a book that goes more into things, goes more into each card. And so this one's interesting because it actually came out of, I believe, a class at let's see. Oh, let me pull out the deck first. I can show you. Like I said, it's the day after Christmas right now. I haven't had time to work with or get deep into any of these, but it comes in a nice 2-piece box. And of course, I'll put links in the description to everything. And then there's the guidebook, and then a tuck box. And cards are larger than I'm used to, or than most of my decks. They're not insanely large, but they're definitely larger than I have small hands, and that gives you no information, does it? So here's the backs, and I'm gonna put a back down and then read a little from the intro to try to give some context, and then I'll pull the 5 cards. So the deck is Wisdom of Place, Elements of Sacred Landscapes, and I was interested in this deck because I'm very interested in ideas around place and how place impacts us as people and how we impact it, and how really getting to know and being part of your actual the landscape you live in is important. So in the introduction it says, every day of our lives we are in the presence of genius, what our ancestors called the genus loci, I never know how to pronounce this, genus loci, or spirit of place. But do we recognize it? Can we still hear the mountain, see the wind, feel the forest without an app? At this moment of profound environmental disruption, we must reawaken our sense of the earth's abiding intelligence and relearn our secret language of nature. And then it says our book, Wisdom of Place, so that was the one I just showed, examined various expressions of the power of place through the narrative structure of the tarot. We now present its content in the form of an interactive card deck, a tangible and tactile tool to expand one's environmental consciousness in an original and captivating way. Tarot deck associates traditional tarot figures with ideas, concepts, manifestations of the genus loci. Our major arcana represent broad concepts and fundamental principles of ecological awareness and their common expressions in global folklore. Our minor arcana represent specific elements and features of sacred landscapes and are subdivided into 4 suits of 14 cards each, representing the elemental properties of earth, air, water, and wood. And says we consider the 78 cards in this deck as pathways to enchantment, artful representations of metaphors that help realign spiritualism with environmentalism. And let's see. Oh, it didn't go into. It says we took turns illustrating each card in our artistic style to create a visual dialogue. I don't think I made up that this started as something from a actual, like a university course. Oh yeah, okay. In their acknowledgments in the book, like the big hardback book, it says Wisdom of Place was initially inspired by a design assignment in Chip, that's the person, Chip's seminar on sacred landscapes at UC Berkeley in 2018. Students were required to illustrate 4 different environmental themes on a single page with one-word captions. When pinned up together on the studio wall, the format appeared to Chip like tarot cards. It goes into more information about that. I don't want to give it all away, but so the small guidebook has a picture of the card, information, words of wisdom, and then the larger book also has a picture, but then goes into more detail. And I'm really excited for both of these. So let me go ahead and pull 5 cards, like shuffle, pull 5 cards, and then I'll read from both the small deck and the large deck. Okay. And so, of course, if you've seen my other videos, this is, an ASMR ramble. And so in ramble videos, they're exactly what they say, right? You're just sort of rambling, but I'm also at the same time trying to show you these decks, hopefully introduce you to decks you may be unfamiliar with, or maybe you're interested in, but you want to see a little more information about them. So yeah, like I said before, just let me know if you want to see any of these in more detail, any of these decks. So this is the Labyrinth. Then we have Lightning. And I'm not usually like a collage deck kind of person, but actually, I was flipping through these yesterday, and I actually really like this deck. Kind of makes me reconsider the whole collage situation. It's not like I'm against collage, but okay, well, since this came up, Echoes, that was that page I showed you. I'm going to put this off to the side. That'll be the one I read from, because it just feels appropriate. And then the Rain Dance. So one of the things I like too is, like, some are collagey and some are drawn. And it just seems, like there's different types. So here's Echoes. So let me see if I can glimpse a little bit. All right, and let's see what suit that is. I think that's Pentacles. So it'd be blue is, okay, that's Earth. So I'm actually not sure. Do they say the symbols clearly are meant to be each of the suits, but I don't see. I might just be missing it, but we'll find out. All right, so echoes. So this is the Two of, I'm not sure which suit this is. I don't think it's Earth. Okay, I can tell that's a cup. That's air. It might be Earth. Actually, I think it is Earth. Would be Two of Pentacles. An echo is a phenomenon of sound reflecting off a distant surface. The farther away the object, the more time it takes for the sound to return. Many nocturnal and marine animals are sensitive to sound. They navigate, hunt, and forage by echolocation. Oh, it's like the sound waves. That's cool. And then you can see them like coming back. And then it says words of wisdom, personal, call out to the land and listen for its wise response. Environmental, sound travels faster through water than air, which makes biological sonar an efficient process. And then creative, incorporate feedback processes in your work. So that's from the small guidebook. And then from the really big Wisdom of Place book. Woo! Love me a good big book. Now let's go to echoes. See if I'm not as lucky jumping around here. Oh, we have the little symbols. Because the little symbols at the bottom are for each one. So I think I'm pretty sure this is for air, the little like a butterfly, and then there's a like lobster or crawfish for what do you call it? Cups. And then there's a tree, and I think that one must be for wands. Yes, okay. The book, it tells you more. Yeah, Earth is the labyrinth. And so there's a little section about Earth. So like in the book, the big book, there's like the main symbol. I know you can't really see that, but I'm just kind of trying to give you an idea. All right, number 2. What would be the Two of Pentacles. Have you ever spoken to the mountains and received an answer in return? In Greek mythology, Echo is the name of an Oread, or mountain nymph, who was cursed by the goddess Hera to only repeat the words of others. An echo is a phenomenon of sound reflecting off a distant surface. The farther away the object, the more time it takes for the sound to return. Many nocturnal and marine animals are sensitive to sound and navigate, hunt, and forage by echolocation. Bats, dolphins, and whales emit sounds in a variety of ways and use echoes to identify the shape and location of different elements and creatures in the darkness of night and depths of the oceans. Sound travels faster through water than air, which makes biological sonar an efficient process. Sonar, radar, and LiDAR are all contemporary technologies that use echoes to map things on Earth that we can't see, in essence giving a voice to the landscape. Sonar, which stands for Sound Navigation and Ranging, measures echoes from sound waves and is used to map the ocean floor. Active sonar has been known to cause acoustic trauma to whales, prompting legislation to curtail its use in certain regions. Radar uses radio waves to measure the size, quantity, speed, and direction of moving objects. Meteorologists predict weather patterns based on radar data from the interior of clouds. LiDAR measures light reflected from laser pulses to accurately map the three-dimensional structure of the Earth's surface. LiDAR can sense topographic features below a forest canopy is an effective tool for environmental planning and landscaping management. Since time immemorial, we call up to the land and listen for its wise response. So really it seems like the guidebook and this larger book, they have a little bit of the same information, but they seem much more like complementary. So the guidebook that comes with the deck, it seems much more friendly in terms of like, oh, here's the personal or creative things to take away from it, things to meditate on. Whereas it seems maybe like the book kind of gives more information on kind of like the biology or geology or the sort of science and history and culture. Like LiDAR school, I barely know anything about it other than I know in the region I live, it's been used to find, there's a lot of sinkholes and stuff, and so it's been used to look like you can see cool maps of the ground. But anyway, and I think the major arcana in this deck, there's a lot more information. But anyway, this seems like a really cool deck if you're interested, of course, like in place. If you like the sort of, like, they're not all collage style, but like a variety of like collage style and different things like that. And if you're into nature, but again, more like a little bit more, I don't know, scientific, cultural, historical, not as much sort of like this is an animal deck or something like that. So I'm very excited to play around with this. I might actually start with the book and like pull cards and like read the book and like pull the card as I read through the book, because I think even if you're not interested in tarot or oracle, this might be something you're interested in. So hopefully if this was a deck you were looking into, this gave you like some idea of what it's about. Sorry, I put it away and I don't like zooming into these videos because I want to be able to show you the end. I just noticed, so here in the back are the 4 suits. So I believe this is Cups, Air, Fire, and Earth. And we see it reflected again on the backs. So keep that off to the side. I've taken a long time on just this first deck. I have to speed things up. Okay, then I got 2 decks from the same creator, C.A. Mallard. I got the Phantom Queen Tarot and the Light Sprite Tarot. And I found out about these thanks to JD at Frost and Forest. And so the first one I'm showing you is Phantom Queen Tarot, and I'll try to go a little faster through these. So it's got these pretty gilded edges. It's a nice back. Let's see if there's anything like in the front real quick. So it says, recognizing the Morrigan as a goddess of prophecy, I became inspired to create a tarot deck dedicated to her. I found her oracle cards are included in polytheistic decks, but nothing dedicated to herself, her forms, or her energy. I took this as an opportunity to create it myself. And so the heifer is earth, or pentacles, the swords, and air is the crow. The wands are the wolf, and the eel is the cups. And the guidebook has the pictures in color, at least for the major arcana, and then has entries for everything. So let's go ahead and pull. Let me just shuffle real quick. And I'm trying to pick up the pace a little bit because I kind of rambled so long about the first deck. But I'm kind of glad I did, because like I said, I didn't really see anything on that deck before. It's just like my interest in a place so strong that I was like, I really wanted it. This is the wheel. So we're going to do 5 cards here. The 7 of Swords. I really love the color scheme, the sort of grays, blacks, greens, and reds. This is the Ace of Pentacles. And we have the Three of Cups. It's not precisely like the Star Seeker, but for whatever reason, some of the artwork kind of reminds me of a similar style. And then here's the Queen of Pentacles. So let's go ahead and take the Queen of Pentacles and read for her. And there's information on astrology in the back of this as well. So let's see, and numerology. Wands, Pentacles, Queen. The Queen of Pentacles is a strong Earth Mother. She works with a budget, but knows how to create growth on her own. She is giving and makes sure that everyone has what they need and a little extra just in case. She knows how to keep things balanced, enjoying luxuries, but also knows how to be practical. She helps teach others how to be sensible and sustainable. Upright, sustainability, charity, budgeting, nurturing. Reversed, selfishness, irresponsible, and neglectful. So again, like I said, it's kind of rapid fire. So that is the Phantom Queen Tarot. And put a card aside for that one. Oh, and I didn't show you the box. It's really nice, like the inside of the box. Okay. And this was the book. It's a nice chunky book, which I'm always a fan of. And then by the same creator, we have the Light Sprite Tarot. This one also is nice, like this clamshell. It says the answers to the big picture can be found in the smallest details. Very different style, but I really, really like it. And I was gonna say it reminds me a lot of the Sarah Kathleen's, like Everybody's Tarot, those decks. You know, in terms of like the sort of lightness. And it says the creation of this deck came from a desire to make a child-friendly and inclusive deck without being too far into a childish scene. Since I am not the best at figure drawing, the concept of little glowing people was simply reduced to stick figures, and I feel the design worked together well. I agree. She goes into more about the deck, but then she also has you know, full entries, looks like. So we are going to read from that. So let me again just do like a quick shuffle and then pull 5 cards from random parts of the deck. So let me do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So what do we have? We have the wheel. Did we just have that? That's kind of weird. The 6 of Wands. It's writing the little ladybug. It's a really fun little deck, just from what little that I've seen. I think this is, it might be one of the few cards where that little guy actually isn't there, and it's really just like the very standard tarot. Page of Cups. It's got a little fishy friend out among the reeds, and then the star. That's neat. I like that. But it's a very cute little deck. I'm so excited about this one. I mean, I'm excited about them all, but this one just feels uplifting. And sometimes you just need some uplifting, you know. So here's the reading for Star, number 17. The Star card is about trusting yourself and your place here in the universe. It brings new hope, inspiration, and a feeling of being truly blessed here. It points out that you've been setting a lot of signs, though they may not have all been recognized yet. You are now yourself with the direction you've been aiming for. The Sprite pouring from both shells, watering back into the pond and the grass around it, gives us the image of returning to the origin and nurturing the future at the same time. Keywords: destiny, fate, looking for a higher purpose. So that is the light Sprite tarot. So I'm going to put these away. Every time I put my hand on the screen, I'm like, oh my god, it's chalky hands. All right. So that is, we've only made it through 3 decks. Well, there's one, if I don't get to it, I'll show you it, but I know you've seen it elsewhere, so it'll be okay if I don't actually, pull through. So this one's the Yukika Tarot, and she just had a Kickstarter, but also is now selling these in her Etsy shop. Beautiful box. It says for the in-between. It's a 2-piece box. Again, gorgeous. Nice little chunky guidebook. This is the back of the cards. So let me just open the guidebook and see if there's like any little. It says the Yukika Tarot, a magic machine for the in-between. And let's see. The name Yukika in Japanese can be read as happy flower. This is a deck for the big-hearted, for the depressed and anxious artist, the beginner, and the burnt out, or simply the bored. Please enjoy. She has more information, and then, so she has like history of the deck, how to use it, sample spreads, and then she goes into each of the cards. So let's do our, oh, and here's the edges. Oh, okay, well, I guess this will be one of our cards, Wild. Then we have the 2 of Stone, the 3 of, oh, this is awesome. I was just thinking about this card yesterday when I pulled it because I was super excited. I've found this a couple times. It goes by a couple names, but it's called Ghost Pipe. It's one of the names, and it's actually a flower that can't photosynthesize or doesn't have chlorophyll, so it's parasitic on fungi that are underneath the ground, and so that's why it's white instead of green. And I'm assuming these are either a type of cup fungi or maybe part of a lichen, and that this is a bryophyte. I'm not sure, but anyway, super love this card because of those images. I'm a nature nerd. Wonder. And 5th card, ooh, 7 of Wands. I love all of these. I'm a big fan of wolves, so that's really cool. This is just, and I love the word wonder and the word wild. These were some really great decks. I'm super excited about them all. I'm gonna say let's look at 3 of Stone just because I was even just thinking of about that card earlier. So this is collaboration, interconnection, alliance, to lean and rely on one another, to build together. On a rich planet, fungi, lichen, plants, algae grow, resilient, in unique collaborations where each could not exist on their own. Resources are shared and exchanged. A cosmic dance, beautiful alien organisms come together. Oh my goodness, I love that. And really, that's a perfect representation. And don't quote me on it because I can't remember. I believe, at least as far as we know, that that the ghost pipe is parasitic on the fungi, but maybe it's a different word. It's like, it doesn't necessarily give the fungi anything back, but it also doesn't hurt it. Which I feel like, I can't remember. I remember no, I don't remember. I remember that I might have learned something about where something, we usually use the term parasitic in a bad way, but parasitism doesn't always have to be negative in the sense that, like, something can take something from something else without that taking being harmful, if that makes sense. So it lives off of the thing, but it's not necessarily hurting the thing. Anyway, I don't remember it. I have to look it up, and this is not a video about that, so you can go do your research. Beautiful deck, though. So excited. And all of those cards, I'm just so happy that those were the ones that came up. It makes me feel good about having done this video. I know that doesn't necessarily mean anything, but there's something that's always satisfying when things kind of go right in a way, or not right, go in a way that feels like fulfilling or meant to be, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Okay, the next one I want to showcase is called The Ocean Oracle, Story, Messages, and Remembrance. And so it comes with a little book. Now it looks like it's small, but she's actually packed a lot of information. So don't let that fool you. It's not just like a simple, couple keywords. These are the backs. So it's a photographic deck. And I don't necessarily love that it says the Ocean Oracle on the back, but I like the idea of the deck. I like the images, and there was one image in particular I came across yesterday when I was going through each card that I definitely made me feel like, kind of like I just said, like a meant to be. There was a certain, maybe it'll come up, but let me see. It says about the author. After 15 years of living too far from the ocean, we packed up our lives and moved to Coffs Harbour, NSW. I think NSW is New South Wales, where I work as a Bowen therapist and artist. I love being closer to the sea and am still awed every day by the beauty of this place. The idea for the Ocean Oracle came to me a few years ago, and it was an aha moment I am grateful I paid attention to. I have always felt nurtured and supported by the ocean and its ability to heal, and I wanted to capture that healing power with story and messages. It says there's many ways to use the deck. Card layouts are personal choice. About single card readings, 3-card spreads, situationals. I mean, like, see, look at this. She has a ton of information packed into a small space, which is awesome. And each card has like the number, the picture, like the picture of the thing, and then a keyword. But then each thing also has a story and a message with it. So let's go ahead and pull our 5 cards. So we have 1, seaweed, scattered thoughts. And I grew up maybe about half an hour from the Gulf of Mexico, so it's really cool. Lateral thinking crab. I know this isn't the Gulf of Mexico, but it's just, I like it. It's not just an ocean, it's also kind of a beachy deck too. Opportunity, shark. And photographic decks have also grown on me as I made my own. Cycles, waves. Oh, I'm really hoping that card comes up from yesterday. It did though. Clam, flexibility. So let's go ahead and read for clam. Number 23. The story. She wanted clam sauce for dinner. She was set in her mind that this was what she would serve. She went to the clam flats, only to find the tide was too high for clamming. She would have to wait a few hours. Although this disrupted her plans, she arrived back to the flats and quickly dug up enough clams for the dinner. She raced home and immediately set about to open her treasures. The clams would not budge. They were set firm, muscles too tight to break through. She was starting to panic that her perfect evening was not going to plan. So intent she was on this meal, she could think of no other alternatives. When she realized she was nearly rigid in her being, she decided she needed another approach. She needed to exercise some flexibility. She remembered her father always chilling the clams to ease their opening. She put them in the freezer as she prepared the rest of the dinner. When she took them out, the knife slid effortlessly through the mussel, allowing her to open the clams with plenty of time before her guests arrived. Says the messages, what is causing you to stay rigid in your life? Where might flexibility render your situation more amenable? What patterns in your life are inflexible? Flexibility is a gift to use intuitively to help navigate life. Notice how much more smoothly you progress when your approach is flexible. To move with flexibility between contrary aspects in your life brings you into a flow supported by the universe. So as you can see, like, she really packs a punch in just a small amount of space. So I definitely recommend this if see, I think she must live in Australia, but it ships, I think, from the US. So it was designed in Australia, and I believe NSW is New South Wales, but if I remember right, this came from the US. Maybe she has a US partner. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But like I said, packs a punch into a small, I think what might look deceptively like a simple deck. So my guess is if you like the ocean, or even just a good guidebook, this might be a deck you're interested in. So let me set that off to the side. Okay. And the next one I want to show you is this one called Earth's Hymn Oracle Deck. It comes out of Canada, I believe. And it comes in a little 2-piece box. It says, it's a quote from Mary Oliver, the poet, I was saved by the beauty of the world. This is the backs of the cards. Very beautiful, and I like this sort of world. There's an oracle booklet with some wonderful little mushrooms. Let me sort of browse that real quick, see if there's any little tidbit can reach you. There's a thing on using the deck, and then it goes into each of the cards. Like it has a lot on each card. So there's not a lot about doesn't look like there's a ton about sort of the story behind the deck. There's just like using the deck and then the cards themselves, which nothing wrong with that. Just wanted to make sure. Yeah, she has like some spreads and stuff. And there's a little poem as well. But I don't want to read that since, that kind of gives that away. So let me just do a quick shuffle. And we'll do our 5 cards. Oh, that's cool. It's from the cover. Mushroom, connect to the unseen. As a mushroom lady, I approve. Snowberry, discover the power of unity. Sea turtle, gather wisdom along the way. Orca, deepen with your soul pod. I've been wanting to learn more about orcas. It seems like they get kind of a bad rap. And then I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Salal, feast upon the abundance of life. So because I want to learn more about orcas, I'm actually going to use that one as the one to read from. can't tell if it is or not, but I can tell I'm a little anxious or panicky, so that's probably why. All right, Orca, page 74. So it's associated with the direction west and the element water. Deepen with your soul pod. Deep within the heart of the Pacific Ocean, you encounter an orca pod gliding gracefully through the water. Their presence is powerful, each ripple in the water telling the story of the depths they have explored and the distances they have traveled together. As they move together effortlessly, they embody the strength and harmony of collective purpose. This pod is more than a group. It is a living, breathing circle of unity where each member adds to the vital energy that binds them together. In the embrace of this pod, you find a profound sense of belonging, a sacred connection that carries you through the boundless waters of your emotions and experiences. Deepen with your soul pod, clicks Orca. Choose those who resonate with the essence of your being and bonds formed through shared journeys. These are the ones who do not turn away from your grief and loss, who welcome both your darkness and your light, and to celebrate your healing and growth. In their presence you are home, no longer adrift, but anchored in a circle of souls who see you, who know you, and honor your path. Reflect on those who surround you, who hold space for your journey with tenderness and unconditional love, who in your life moves through the depths with you, their presence a steady anchor in both stormy seas and calm waters. Orca invites you to recognize the balance within this community, where the dark and the light coexist, each essential to your journey. In this sacred space, surrounded by those who deeply understand you, your healing deepens, your soul thrives, and your true self emerges. And then it says deepen. And that, I think deepen is on all of them. Spend a week on all the cards. Spend a week deepening relationships that nourish and inspire. Notice how your energy shifts when you prioritize connections that bring joy, ease, and authenticity. Reflect on what these relationships reveal. How does it feel to be fully seen, supported, and honored? All right, very cool deck. These decks are inspiring me to get back to my one card pulls, so I might even make some videos of that after this. All right, I had to pause there for a second, so if there's a quick beat, that's why. All right, the next one I want to show is called, it's another beachy and placey deck called the Floridian Mythos Oracle Deck and Guidebook. I believe this was on Kickstarter not that long ago. I think I might have even wanted to back it, but couldn't afford it. Beautiful box. Here, and the backs of the cards are gorgeous. Oh, sorry. All right, so, inside the box is plain, but the outside the box is just really pretty. I really like it. But here's the backs of the cards. Isn't that pretty? I just think that's gorgeous. And there's so much going on. Is that an orchid? Like a moth? And it's like landscape. So that's the back. So let me look at the guidebook real quick. Where did it go? So if you see my other videos, you know how much I like guidebooks. So pretty much all of these have, at least enough of a guidebook to be guidebooky. So there's pictures for each of the cards. There's even a little place in the back to write. And it says, in the wild, untamable corners of Florida, there lingers an eerie magic. It's a place to be revered. Sublime rules here. The awe of nature's beauty and ferocity is unmatched. Decades have been spent by humans trying and failing to make it manageable, a never-ending battle to keep the wilderness back. Do you ever get the feeling that society often views you the same way? Be less messy, be less emotional, be less passionate, be tame, just fit in. Come learn from the land's wisdom. And it goes on a little bit more. Again, I don't want to give it away, but Says this deck is spelt to make you think, self-reflect, and challenge or bring out untamed aspects of your soul. To really ask yourself who you are and what you want inside and outside of life. And then it goes into each of the cards. So let's pull 5 of those. I love the back. I mean, the backs alone are like, it's just beautiful. People are so creative. It's one of the things I love about these decks in general, is just how creative people are. So this is Divine. Then we have Belonging. Look at this artwork. And I love place-based decks. Not just something like that very first one, the Wisdom of Place, but especially ones that are like this. Like, I have no connection to Florida at all. Migration. But I love that someone felt their connection was so strong. They felt like their land had something to tell us. Hold on. And so I just really, really like that. And then other side. So let's read from other side. I like that word. And the looks like maybe we're in a swamp. So let me go to there's a table of contents. So let's see. And it's also in alphabetical order. So that's also useful. Right. 66. Keywords: reflection, lost. It is golden hour in the swamp. The setting sun hits everything just right, causing the trees to glow. The still water looks like glass, reflecting the scene back. It looks almost as if you could walk through the looking glass, getting lost in another world. Upright. This card is asking you to look in the mirror. There are some things you have been putting off to reflect on. Take some time and untangle your mind. Flipped. You might be feeling lost, but it's okay to take the time to contemplate what you truly want. There's no rush for you to have it all figured out right now. So that's one of the cards from the Floridian Mythos guidebook. Oh, and here's the front of the guidebook. I don't know if I showed you that. Very cool. I love these decks. I actually am really excited about doing one card pulls again. I just sort of got out of it, didn't have the energy, and then I've gotten kind of, what do you call it? Just haven't been able to find the momentum. So I think this kind of put a little fire under my boat. All right. And then the last two, I'm going to save the mass market one for last, just because there's plenty of videos. The next one I'm going to do is the Forces of Nature, and that one was also, I think, on Kickstarter, and I wanted to back it, and I couldn't. That's where I was able, when I asked for decks, I went back and looked at the Kickstarters that I canceled. It's actually, it's a weird thing to do, but to see, let's see if they're out. And so that's the back of the cards. There's a nice big guidebook. So the cards came in that bag, and then the book kind of came up to the side. So let's see real quick in the book. You're holding a deck that wasn't made to give you all the answers. It was made to bring you back to something far more powerful, your own inner depth. Forces of Nature is not a traditional tarot deck, not a fortune-telling tool, and not even a typical oracle. It's a space, a language, where images, sensations, and emotions meet your intuition. Each card is a mirror, inviting you to ask, what is alive in me right now? And she has more information in the introduction. So that was from the introduction. There's how to use this deck. And then each of the cards has the picture in black and white, and then a lot of juice. So let's see what we have. Again, I haven't worked with any of these yet, but oh, love this. cave, stone. Oh, I've ended up pulling a lot of rock ones. Balance, mind flow, and garden. So those are just a few of the cards in that deck, and because I really like caves, I'm gonna take that one, and we're gonna read for that one. All right, cave. So it says, if you're doing for card of the day, meaning today invites you to retreat inward. The cave represents a sacred space of protection, reflection, and rest. It's a reminder to take a break from the noise of the outside world and recharge your energy. Solitude can be healing. Use it to reconnect with your inner self and listen to your true needs. Affirmation: in stillness, I find my strength. Oh, I love that. Keywords: retreat, introspection, protection, solitude, inner depth, withdrawal, and healing space. And then she has a section for upright and reversed meanings. It's kind of cool that there's like a section for each one for just sort of like a card of the day. And then also, if you're reading it sort of as a more traditional, like a card spread. So upright meaning: the cave card represents a sacred space of withdrawal, a place where you can retreat from the outer world and reconnect with your inner self. Like ancient seekers who entered caves for vision quests and transformation, this card invites you inward. It's a time for rest, reflection, and quiet integration. In a reading, cave suggests that solitude is not isolation, but medicine. You may need space to process emotions, heal, or simply listen to your own voice without external noise. It can also point to creating a safe, energetic, or physical boundary around yourself. Interpretations may include a need for solitude or spiritual retreat, deep emotional processing or healing, turning inward for clarity or strength, protecting your energy, or going into your quote-unquote inner cave before emerging renewed. Reversed meaning: reversed cave may indicate excessive withdrawal, fear of vulnerability, or hiding from life. While introspection is important, staying in the cave too long can lead to stagnation, loneliness, or emotional disconnection. This card reversed may also point to avoidance, hiding from a truth or decision. It's a nudge to ask yourself, am I retreating for healing or out of fear? It's a very good question. Possible messages: escapism or emotional avoidance, fear of facing the outside world, prolonged isolation, refusing help or connection, hiding your true self. I like that. It's a nice guidebook. I like the image. Ooh, storm. It's pretty. You can tell that I'm a sucker for things that I think are pretty. All right. And last but certainly not least is our Mass Market deck, Seasons of the Witch Winter Tarot. Now, I do like my Seasons of the Witch Oracle decks, but as much as I try to get into them, a lot of times, like, I don't know why, I can't. I still like them, and I have them, and I'm glad I do. But this one, I don't know, as I was flipping through, and again, I didn't use the guidebook yet, as I was flipping through them yesterday, here's the back. And they come in a big box, and the guidebook is huge, which is great. I actually really liked the artwork in here better. The cards are a little smaller, like a little more tarot-y size, and the sides are gilded. But I don't know, I just sort of connected to these images better. Like, I didn't see one that I didn't like. And so let's just see what we have, and we'll see how the guidebook is. So we have these 6 of Winter Swords. Apprentice of Winter Swords. And so, like, the artwork, obviously similar to the same people, but I don't know, there's something about it that's just, I don't know if it's because it's like they're simpler, or I don't even know if they are simpler. Ten of Winter Cups. I don't know, just vibed with me different. Initiate of Winter Swords. And then let's see what our fifth card is. Self-reflection. Let me go in a little further for that. All right, and we're going to do reading self-reflection. And again, with this one, I won't go into like the introduction and stuff just because I know it's going to be far easier to find information on this deck. And part of my goal is, you know, is being able to introduce you to decks you might not have seen elsewhere. All right, so self-reflection says, a maiden hovers just above a frozen lake, her innate power lifting her up. She didn't always have the ability to float, or at least she didn't know that she did. It's been a long road of challenges, all urging her to accept herself for what she is, a witch. Finally, she reached this lake, saw her reflection, and for once couldn't deny who she was. The moment she accepted herself is the moment her power was awakened and she evolved to what you see before you. Divinatory meaning. I've renamed this card Self-Reflection. Judgment is the one card whose name has never felt right. It suggests someone else is determining your value, gifts, and purpose, such as with the phrase Judgment Day, which is where the card gets its name, when really this card is about reflecting on your choices and understanding where your actions have led you. You've taken the time to understand the lessons you faced, and now you're seeing the bigger picture. Every challenge, misdirect, or passion has led you to who and what you're meant to be. This is why this card represents discovering your life purpose. It appears in a reading when you finally know who you are, but are still doubting yourself. Your soul drew this card to tell you this is the proverbial fork in the road. You can continue down the path of denying yourself, or you can finally claim the unique talents and desires that make you extraordinary. What you love isn't an accident. What you faced is more than an unlucky turn of the wheel. All your experiences have prepared you to step into what you're feeling now, but you have to accept the new path being offered to you. This card can also represent a leveling up, whether that's a positive sign of a promotion, encouragement to invest in a new look, finally feeling as though you've nothing left to heal, or meeting someone who truly makes you feel alive. So that is the Seasons of the Witch Winter Tarot, and it's also called A Journey Through Yule and Imbolc. So I think if you like the Seasons of the Witch, this is probably a good deck for you. And like I said, I think there's a lot of videos out there on this one, so I don't want to take a lot of time for that. This one. So those are the decks. I'll put all the links in the description for them, and then let me just zoom out a little bit and try to get all of the cards in here so you can kind of see them all together, all the backs. Might have to go out a little more. Whoop. I like seeing the backs. I mean, obviously I like seeing the fronts, but I always like when people show all the backs of their cards on their videos. So I try to do that when I do these. Well, let's see. Gotta go out further. You can see my little stand, but it's okay. Then we have this one. And, well, shoot. There really isn't a lot of space. Here, I'll show you all of these, and then I'll just take my own picture here in a minute. These are all our packs together. I'll take it. I'll stop this and then take a picture. Hopefully you saw some new decks that you might be interested in. I'm hoping that I can do some one card pulls here with these. Let me know if there are any of these decks that you want me to do a more in-depth ramble. Where in those I usually will show like all the cards and do like a 3-card spread at the end if I can. And ramble a little more in depth about just that deck or my thoughts, coming from that deck. And I hope everyone had a good holiday if you celebrate Christmas. If you don't, I hope you got the day off and just got to relax. And if not that, I just hope you had a good Thursday. And I hope you're doing good and hope to see you again soon.